as budgets remain constrained, it's going to be more and more important that you do have the executive at the table.
Hello and welcome to The Forecast. I'm Molly St. Louis, and we've got Upwork's VP of Enterprise Sales, Samantha DeStefano, in the house today to discuss how critical it is to get your deals multi-threaded in today's sales environment. But let's unpack a few points first. Account-based sales has been the secret weapon of some of the most effective B2B teams who understand that pursuing a target number of high-value accounts and tailoring all sales messages and activities to each of the several key stakeholders at those accounts produces a higher close rate. The success of ABS is largely down to having the right ICP, or buyer persona, which allows companies to achieve a 68% higher account win rate, according to Topo. Account-based sales strategies were already on the rise, but when COVID hit, the widespread adoption of this tactic became more imperative, in part because it allows sales teams to adapt to the market and identify the most promising accounts. Leaders like Samantha DeStefano take ABS a step further and devise micro-strategies to win the hearts and minds of every key stakeholder in those target accounts. So it's time to pick her brain a little bit. Samantha, welcome to The Forecast.
Thank you so much.
What would you say has been this year's greatest impact on enterprise sales?
I would say, in light of most recent events, the thing that has changed the most within enterprise sales is most definitely the executive level involvement. And so I feel prior to COVID or recent events, we saw that the executive team was potentially still involved, but involved much later and at a much more surface level. And today we've experienced that relevant executives are easier to contact. They're far more involved in the purchasing decisions as customers tighten up where they're spending dollars and ensuring that they're putting them in the right place. And so executive level sponsorship and involvement in deals has been the biggest change.
Mm-hmm. And in these changing times, how does one future-proof their sales team?
I think it is getting in front of the way that the buyer journey is changing. One is evaluating what is your message prior to them speaking to a human. So we know even prior to most recent events that buyers are doing a significant amount of research about your organization and about your product online. We also know that social selling is not only the sign of the future, it's already here. And so organizations and buyers want to talk to existing customers of yours. They want to hear their personal experiences leveraging your product. And a lot of that is done even before they get in contact with the BDR. A lot of that is done before they're even talking to an account executive. And so understanding what is your message and what is your brand that's already existent out there when they're doing their research prior to connecting with someone on your team. That's the first piece. I would say really adopting this idea of multi-threading. So I'm going to keep going back to the executive, but understanding that top-down approach isn't the only approach, but it's absolutely not going to go anywhere. And so as budgets remain constrained, it's going to be more and more important that you do have the executive at the table helping to make that decision. And so it's really getting skilled at a bottoms up and tops down approach. And so it's kind of that race to the middle. How do you ensure that you're covering all potential buyers within the sales cycle? And that third piece I would say is understanding that the single point of sale is gone. And so in my opinion, committee buying is not going anywhere. And so where you might have before had one or two key buyers, today we know it is a panel of buyers. And so again, being able to communicate to their specific needs and what value you can add to every single person at that table is more important than ever.
Absolutely, and data shows that committee buying is definitely not going anywhere. So let's kick it over to Clari's VP of Enterprise Sales, Anthony Cesario, for some stats.
Hi everyone. So in Forecast Past, we've talked about activity data that showed us how in deals over 100K, on average, our sales teams are required to have 18 meetings and 14 contacts to close those deals. So yes, Samantha, agreed. The data tells us that these panels of buyers aren't going anywhere anytime soon. So also, as you alluded to, as we look at building a sales strategy to sell into these executive buying committees, it's really important that we focus on the executives within these committees. So our data is showing us that since the pandemic started, nearly 75% of won deals required interaction with the executive team. In many of those instances, it was with the CFO. On the flip side of that data, less than 10% of lost deals had any engagement from these same executive personas. So the takeaway? Our sales teams need to ensure that they're creating moments that matter for every member of the buying committee across the sales cycle, specifically the executive staff. It's these executives that are going to control the fate of your deals. And we need to make sure that we get them engaged early, that we speak their language, and that we show them value. Good luck, friends. Back to you, Molly.
Very enlightening, Anthony. Thank you. So Samantha, in this committee buying landscape, how do you execute on that top-down, bottom-up strategy?
Yeah, how we're looking at top-down and bottom-up is we've gotten really skilled at identifying account mapping and account planning. And so whereas before, relationships were a big piece of enterprise buying and enterprise selling, well, we're all here via Zoom, and we're probably going to be selling via Zoom for quite some time. And that also means we're coaching and developing our reps via Zoom and virtually. And so understanding not only what is the account we're working, but getting very pointed in identifying what is the white space within these accounts, which accounts of the 200 I'm working today are my top priorities, and then actually being able to back that down to a very tactical level. Again, tying it to the company's specific initiatives, where can we impact this business and who are the target contacts we're going after to be able to communicate that value to them. And then as a leader, measuring toward the progress to those commitments. And so that's something that we've rolled that out, I want to say about 7 months ago, and just really flexing that muscle and getting our reps really good at understanding what is your next move within this account and why is that your next move, and then show me and tell me how you're going to do it, has been helping us get much closer to where that white space is and capturing more of it.
Samantha, this has been a very important conversation, and before we let you go, I must ask the question, what is your forecast for the future of enterprise sales?
My forecast for the future of enterprise sales is bright. I would say it's already on the uptick, and so focusing on the relevant executives, focusing on the value that your product can provide. It's really just going to be a race to who's going to be able to capture that spend first. And so don't get distracted, stay focused, and I think 2021 is going to be a much better year.
Exceptional insights from Samantha DeStefano on this very important selling trend. And it'll be interesting to see what new strategies are innovated in the coming year. Thank you all for watching, and until next time, stay healthy, stay focused, and stay connected.